Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. Well, it's here. It's the end of Voyager Part 1, so time for my grading slash final thoughts. However, it is chosen to be defined. I don't really want to do grading because everybody does grading, so, I gotta do something a little different. But I always start out with officers, so let's do that. Officers usually are a big thing in the month. Their officers are a big thing in the game. And if you have been watching my videos, you know I have been testing the Doctor. Mostly his officer ability. At Tier 1, it's 300%. Now, Tier 2 or Tier 3 is pretty useful as far as the officer ability goes, because that does mean you'll need to stack a little less health. 2,000, it's not really necessary. It's almost too much because remember, mitigation caps. So, I mean, what would that be? Times 20. Your health times 20. That would be a lot. Really, what everybody's talking about is his below deck ability. Fairly straightforward. Didn't really need that much testing. Starts at 15%, then scales all the way up to 50% at max. It's a very nice officer. He is a lot like 5 of 11. Now think about that because I still want to say 5 of 10. Except you can use him with her, right? Because 511 goes in the captain's seat. The Doctor goes, well, either in an officer slot or below deck. B'Elanna Torres is the officer I really like this month. Not necessarily the sourcing at all, but what her below deck ability is. Mostly because I think her officer ability sucks. Much like the Doctor, you got to get hit first, but it only lasts one round. So it's not really that useful. Hull breach. This is what she's doing. Tier 1, it's only 10%. Then it scales up to 15, 30%. 30% doesn't sound like a lot, but think about, because she's below deck, doesn't take away from your bridge. And if you're doing maybe even some of these new armadas, if a couple of you are stacking B'Elanna below decks, yeah, that's a tongue twister. That's a few chances of your 30%, right? So 60% is even better. I mean, that's almost as good as Lorca. And then 100% at Tier 5, which is fantastic. I mean, think about Hugh and B'Elanna below deck. You know, kill the shit out of some hostiles. Now, while the officers are good this month, there's no sourcing. Even sourcing during the month was pretty scarce. I was able to get B'Elanna, and I was able to get the Doctor, as you saw. Almost got the Doctor to Tier 2, but not quite. Look, a lot of these months we get a lot of good officers, right? Think back to Deep Space Nine. Cisco, Miles O'Brien, even the Interceptor and Explorer Strike teams. And then you had Jadzia Dax and Odo and Bashir. Where are the sourcing for these officers? Cisco and Miles O'Brien have theirs. But, at least as of right now, the other 3 months of officers have no sourcing. Think about any other month you've seen officers come out. If they don't make immediate sourcing, then there is none. That's not a good thing. I get you want your money. What? People aren't going to pay to play this game, to just pay to play this game. You got to have some kind of sourcing. Hopefully, and there is talk about this, and I will get to this when I get down to the feature. These new armadas are only uncommons. Are there going to be rare and epic versions? Possibly. Or a new type. You know, you have rare and epic. Maybe you just pick up a new word and then you're just creating one more type. And maybe they'll drop some of these officers. Or maybe there'll be some other sourcing mechanic with the next few months of the Voyager arc. All right, let's talk about missions now. You know how I feel about missions. If I can't do them quick as shit, I don't really care. That's me. The premium tokens, the premium artifact tokens. I did think it was nice to get, what was it, like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 pulls from the missions. That seemed pretty generous. Other than that, there really wasn't much in there. You did need to do a few of those missions to help with your B'Elanna sourcing if you wanted to get her this month. But, you know, missions are really kind of meh to me. Events seem to be going with this trend the past several months, really. You have some days where there's shit tons of events and shit tons of shit to do. And then other days you looking around, it's like it's 12:05 and it's like I have nothing to do. Cuz you did everything already. Now, it is tough because who doesn't like a day off from this game every once in a while? Maybe really easy events that you get done real quick, and then you go do your other grindy junk. And then other days are, more heavy event related. So, it's kind of heads or tails there. What am I? Certain artifacts from certain armadas. Oh, that's feature. Oh. These stupid events for pick this certain ship, interceptor, explorer, battleship, and go kill your advantage in a triangle. I hate that. I can't stand that. Why do we have to keep doing this? Why? I really just need to stop doing it. I mean, part of that is my fault. But at the same time, not everybody has an explorer, an interceptor, and a battleship around their level. Right? Some people do. Yes, some people do. Some people don't. So why don't you scale back the point thresholds a bit? If you want to keep running them, scale the point threshold back. Because you have no idea what the hell ships people got. You ain't got a clue. Alright, let's get to the feature. Actually, and I'll tie my first thought about the feature in with the events. Some of these events, what the hell was it? You had to go kill the hostiles in the Delta Quadrant because we got a whole new quadrant of space, and It's kind of a pain in the ass to find it on the map. But, however, it's more something you just have to get used to. But you got these lost aliens or whatever up there, pulled in by the caretaker. But then you got these Hirogen hunters. So for me, it reminds me of way back when, before people started maxing out their faction reputations and going above hostile with the factions. You're going into a system, a relatively low system, you're grinding out your Federations or your Klingons or your Romulans or whoever, and you don't have somebody chasing you. And I mean the little bounty hunter type of dude that comes chasing you. But somebody else in the system does. Well, you're tapping this battleship. Tap it, kill it, tap it, kill it, tap it, tap it, tap it, tap attack, tap attack, tap it, tap attack. The hell is paying attention to what hostiles there? We're zoomed all the way the hell out. Too bad, that's how we play. And I know it's like, oh, well, look at what you're shooting first. Yes, I understand that. So it is kind of ridiculous to be like, screw these stupid ass Hirogen hunters. I don't like that they're intermixed with all the other types, right? There's interceptors, there's explorers, there's battleships. Kind of makes sense, but then you have all these other hostiles in there, these lost alien hostiles that are also explorer, interceptor, and battleship. So how often do people mistakenly hit a hunter? Like, you're in one of the big systems because you want big points for each kill. Who hasn't mistakenly killed a hunter and really took out their hull? Their own hull. Hey, if you watch Ultimate DJ's stream, his Twitch stream, he did that a few times over the weekend. Happens to all of us. Especially those of us that aren't used to different strength hostiles in the same system, but really look like all the other ones. So, I'm not really happy about that. What else is up here? Okay. The new armadas. They are a lot like the Borg cubes that we hate. Because yes, we do hate the Borg cubes. They are a little easier because you don't necessarily need to take down all three of the nodes yourself. You can do one, and then another alliance can do one, and then the other alliance can do one at the top. So it is a little easier, but it is still lots of coordination, especially now with this first month, how were directives sourced. Yes, there is sourcing for them, so there's that. But there's very low sourcing. And also events centered around defeating these armadas. So you do have to coordinate the use of your directives. It's not that fun. It's really not. And with these new armadas, there are different levels of armadas. Yes, they are only uncommons, but there's different levels. There's 30, there's 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, etc. And the reward for these is artifact refined tokens. So you go into the artifact gallery, which is a new building. You do your little pull, you get some artifacts. Also is a chest when you take down all three nodes at the same time. You get a big bundle of artifacts. So certain artifacts are dropped in certain armadas. Okay, that's not terrible. I would say that it would limit some players in being able, because a lot of the epic artifacts are not, actually all the epic artifacts aren't dropped from any armada. Whatever artifacts are dropped in the 60s, the 55s, the 50s, some people ain't never going to see them. We'll never see them because this is a very long loop. And you got to think that if some of these players are between 25 and maybe 35, do they got enough power to take down a 55 or a 60 or a 50? Probably not. Because usually you're around the level of your alliance. Now, do you have some bigger players? Sure. How about some of these newer servers? When are they going to be able to see some of these artifacts that are dropped from some of these big armadas? It's going to be a while. So I don't really like that. I don't like that none of the epic artifacts are dropped from any of these armadas. But as I said a little earlier, a theory rolling around the community is with these armadas only being uncommon, there will be rare or epic or, I don't know, platinum or something. Another type, another class of armada. Rare, epic, uncommon, consider them classes maybe. So there is potential for that to happen. So we'll see what they drop if they come. Okay, well, let's go in game and let's take a look in my station. Now, I'm not upgrading the artifact gallery right now. And as you can see, it's over here, way on the right, kind of next to your shuttle bay. Now, how you can go in and look in your artifacts is a few ways. You hit the little button here on top, or you click the building and then you hit artifacts. Now, if you decide to upgrade this building, you click the upgrade and, it'll look like this, right? Well, what happens when you click on a building? It does that, right? It doesn't take you to this screen here where your main stats and your details are and such. And also this will go away because you're upgrading it, much like the scrapyard does it. When you're upgrading the scrapyard, can you scrap a ship? So when you're upgrading this building, how do you go in and manage your artifacts? Now you can go here and do some pulls, but there's no button here to go manage your artifacts. Pretty disappointing. You would think that they would be over here somewhere, but they're not. They are in one of these tabs, but there's no menu where you can restore and or upgrade them. And that's what I'm saying with this being a long loop. You see, I only have a few that are more than level 2. I really didn't do much. As you can see, this is an artifact, whatever the dumb thing it is. And based on your artifact building, you can get it up to such and such level with, more shards. Kind of like officers, but with 20 tiers. But look at all these artifacts. It's a very, very long loop. I think it might be similar to Stella, maybe. The only difference is a lot of these, because essentially they're just researches. There's nothing specific for the formation armadas yet, anyway. So I would kind of liken it to the Stella. And as far as time-wise, I would also liken it to the Stella. Maybe even more closely to Syndicate. It's a very, very long loop. Very long loop. This will not be quick. You will be grinding this bullshit out for at least a year, maybe even 2 years. I do like because these are supposedly artifacts that were in a Star Trek show or movie. Janeway's coffee mug. There's a timepiece thing. I think it was in one of the Voyager episodes. The scale replica of a Katinga. Yeah, I guess that was in there. A bat laugh. Some hyper spray things. Two I wanted to point out. Stamets. Original mycelium sample. Increases your warp speed. USS Discovery scale replica. Increases base damage for all ships during takeovers. You would think that some of this stuff would go with something, right? You think the Grand Nagus' scepter would have something to do with maybe the Fuchsia or the Devore. Cost efficiency, crystal gas, and ore components. Potentially that kind of goes with what do they call these set? Ferengis? God, I can remember what the hell they called themselves. Janeway's coffee mug, repair speed. I mean, I guess. Hypo spray, shield health. Yeah, kinda. I mean, it kind of goes with it. I mean, maybe. Here's a dagger. Yeah, the little Klingon dagger. I can't remember what the hell they call it. This. Takaka Tachaka. I don't speak Klingon. Piercing? Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes with it. It's a very sharp blade. It pierces shit. Makes perfect sense. What did this one do? Base damage against all players. Makes sense for a batleth. And I started with the Discovery ones. Mycelium sample. Warp speed. Sure, I mean, technically, get there faster. Of course, with the USS Discovery that we have in the game, you're there almost instantly. So, couldn't you have done something with Discovery? I guess that's my point. Taking a long time to say what I really want to say. You have two things that are specific to the USS Discovery. The little mycelium sample and the scale replica. None of this affects your cost to jump, cost to summon. Warp range would be very useful. Damage during takeovers? Sure. Doesn't have a whole lot to do with the Discovery, but okay. I mean, territory did come out, during the Discovery arc. But this one should have been something centered around summoning, jumping, cost efficiency. Maybe, how about this? Capacity? Right? It's a farmable resource, this raw mycelium. Why are you capped? You can mine the shit out of some crystal ore and or gas. You're not capped. You can keep refining that shit as much as you want. Ship parts, same thing. Why is raw mycelium capped on how much you can refine into jump juice? Why? If you have no raw mycelium, the only way to get more is buy it. Either in the store or with event store loot. But yet a refined option is available. And why I suggest capacity. Well, think about Bajoran Favors. Didn't one of them increase the capacity of Tetrions for your cloaking? Now, you don't have to go mine anything for cloaking. You just, get cloaking daily. So you can save that shit up. We're still capped with jump juice. Something people use a shit ton of. They've literally done nothing to help the Discovery. It is a one-trick pony. It's a badass trick, but do you think it's time for more efficiencies? Yes, there are 2 officers. I understand that. There is a research to help some warp range. But with all these solo armadas and people wanting to summon their ships to get them there quicker, all these stupid ass boost ships, because you got 3 of them now, getting these ships to the system, and are your boost ships tiered close to your level? Can you get to the system? Could something like this have helped? You know, more jump juice capacity. I don't understand why we're, 2.5 years after Discovery, haven't touched the shit at all. Of course, that's about right for them. That is about what they do. But here they go. They made a mycelium thing. Yes, it's an artifact. They made a mycelium artifact. They made a Discovery replica artifact. But nothing to do with how you jump with the Discovery or summon. Why? Why? Okay, rant over. Let's recap. Officers. I'm going to say yes. I think the sourcing is trash, but thumbs up on the officers. Missions. That's my usual. I don't really care. Events. No. I'm going to say thumbs down. Too sporadic in their balance, and I still don't like these stupid specific hostile hunts. Feature? No, thumbs down. It's going to take too long, right? You may never ever see the end of this. I have absolutely no idea how long this is going to take, but we know it's going to take a long time. How long did it take people to do Stella? How long does it take people to do Syndicate? This is going to take a long time. Mainly because the directives have very limited sourcing. What are you going to do? 1 a week. That's terrible. So, yeah, I mean, part of it is the sourcing, right? If they would source the directives, if they would source the officers, maybe they wouldn't get 2 thumbs down this month. It's just me, though. Comment below. What do you think about this month? Did you like the new formation armadas? Do you like the artifacts? I don't really like that it's going to take a while to get them, but they are nice. What do you think about the time frame? Share predictions of, are we going to get the USS Voyager, and what is it going to do? I don't know that it's coming out next month. I don't know. No, that's not why I'm asking. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.